Sometimes life tests us with moments where we have almost nothing left. And in those moments, a single choice can change everything. This is the story of a man whose last dollar became the beginning of a miracle. A story of kindness, a story of destiny, a story that proves the smallest act can touch the biggest heart. Hello friends, welcome to Echo Tales family. It was the last dollar he had to his name, a single crumpled bill damp with rain and the sweat of his palm. For a moment he just stared at it lying in his hand. This was not just money. This was his bus fare home, his last little hope in a day that had offered none. And in a few seconds he would give it away. His name was Leo. For 12 long years, his world had been the worn-out leather seat of his taxi. His days were spent following endless lines of traffic, his windshield always dusty, his heart always heavy. Life had not always been like this. Once there was a small business, a loving wife, a home filled with laughter. But life knocked him down again and again, until he was left with nothing but this taxi and quiet sorrow. The rain had kept people indoors. After hours of driving, his earnings were not even enough for gas. Tired and hopeless, he parked outside a lonely diner. He planned to buy a cheap cup of coffee with his last dollar, something warm before walking miles home in the cold. As he stepped out, he saw her, a little girl curled under a bus stop, shivering, her jacket soaking wet, but it was her eyes that held him still. She was staring at the pies inside the diner, a hunger so deep it was almost painful to look at. Leo felt his own empty stomach. He looked at his last dollar and felt the battle inside him. He needed this. He truly needed it. But then a soft voice inside him whispered, "Look at her." He walked to the girl. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" She nodded, but kept staring at the pies. "They look like the one my mom used to make." That one sentence broke something inside Leo. Without thinking, he knelt beside her. "Here, go get yourself a slice." The girl stared at the dollar. "Really? Really?" Leo gave his first real smile in months. She took the dollar and ran into the diner. Leo watched her with a strange warmth in his chest. He walked home in the drizzle, empty stomach, but a full heart. The next morning, reality returned. He had to borrow money just to get gas. He started his shift again, still thinking about the girl. Later that afternoon, a well-dressed man entered his cab. He looked tired and worried. Halfway through the ride, his phone rang. His face changed instantly, warm, gentle, filled with love. "You did." At the diner, a man gave you $1. What did he look like? A taxi driver. He gave you his last dollar. Leo felt his heartbeat slow. He knew this was about the girl. After the call, the man asked Leo to stop the car. Leo braced himself, expecting anger, but the man had tears in his eyes. "That little girl is my daughter Clara. Last night she got lost. We were searching everywhere. I offered a reward of $50,000 to anyone who could find her. But she told me a man with tired eyes gave her his last dollar because she looked hungry. She said that dollar felt like a hug." Leo sat silent, overwhelmed. The man continued, "I am a billionaire. I understand value and risk. But what you gave my daughter was more valuable than anything I own. You had nothing, yet you gave her everything." In the days that followed, the man learned about Leo, his struggles, his past, his efforts. And then he made an offer that changed Leo's life. A position as operations manager in one of his companies. A fresh start. A chance to live again. Leo accepted. His life transformed. He became close friends with Mr. Sterling. Little Clara lovingly called him the Dollar Hero. Leo realized something powerful. When you give from a place of real kindness, even if it is your last dollar, life finds a way to return it to you in ways you never expect. We think our hardest moments define us, but our true character appears when we have almost nothing left. Leo chose kindness, and that kindness became a miracle, because the world runs on something far more valuable than money. It runs on kindness. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's world, even if that world is your own. Remember this: a single act of kindness can travel farther than you will ever know. Leo gave away his last dollar, but what he received in return was a new life, a new family, a new purpose. So choose kindness even when it is hard, because you never know. Your smallest act may become someone else's miracle, and maybe even your own.